Alright guys, Panic here, otherwise known as Panic Picnic. And if you cannot tell, today's video is going to be about WCS. More specifically, it's going to be actually about the Warchest Katowice 2019. And the price, not the pricing of it, but is this war chest worth it to you as a Starcraft player? I'm going to be talking a little bit about what this war chest offers and if I think you should get it and what races, in my opinion, are a little bit better with it. So the war chest is $9.99. It is $9.99 for a single race. So $9.99 will net you a Terran, a $9.99 will net you a Zerg, or a Protoss of your choosing. I believe the total war chest can be bought for $25. If you buy one like I did, I just bought the Terran one because I'm more of a Terran main. And plus I just wanted to just go ahead and at least go ahead and get it. If you buy it for the $25, you're going to get all three races. Also, if you buy one race for $9.99, the other two races will be available for $16.99. So that's really just a overview of what you're going to be of the pricing of this chest. Now, there is a couple of things I really want to talk about it. It does have its benefits, but let's go ahead, and it does also have a little bit of a downside in terms of what it's also offering. The biggest benefit is that you're going to be getting skins of the race you chose. In my case, it's going to be Terran, so you're going to be getting building skins this time around. So you're going to be unlocking a different version of a command center, refinery, supply depot, barracks, engineering bay, and so on and so forth. But also, you're going to be getting a little bit of emoticons. Like for this one right here, you're going to get a canister rifle. This one, that's just a regular one. And this one right here, you get the emoticon of a junk bot. You're not going to get an emoticon for every single one, but you are going to get some, like you're going to get at least two in the selection I've got right here. You're also going to get you can get a spray, like for this one right here, you're going to get a exclamation mark, and for this one right here, you're going to get a sombrero. But also, the initial thing that you're going to unlock is you're going to unlock a console, which is really nice. Like for this one, I got a Terran Special Forces console. I like it. It's really sleek. You're going to get a banner, which in this case is just going to be a command center. The portrait pack, which is usually just a upgraded version of, or a more high-res version of what your main building protagonist is. And this one is the adjutant. And of course you're going to get the decal. I actually really like the decal. I think it's pretty cool. So that's one thing I can at least recommend. That's one thing I at least like for in terms of the Terran. With the Zerg, of course, you're going to be getting a stimulant. You're going to be getting a hatchery, like again, a stimulant adjutant, and again, more decals. Protoss, you're going to be getting a forged console. Banner is Seed of the High Lord. Portrait pack is the Forge Executor, and again, the decal pack of the Tal'Darim. Now, if you noticed anything, which it's very subtle, but I wonder if you noticed, is that some of these things are really not like the other, and I'm really going to point out what the biggest downside is with this war chest. While yes, it's really good because you can get those buildings, and the last thing I want to point out is you do get a co-op stim pack. The co-op stim pack is really good, especially if you just want to level up some extra commanders. You're going to get about like 25,000 extra XP per game, and it can help you round up those mastery points. It makes you makes your characters level up a bit quicker. The only downside to that is that sometimes if it's a character you're not familiar with, you'll sometimes unlock, like when you complete a game, instead of you going from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 to level 4, and you're getting slowly used to your hero, your commander, you go from level 1 to like level 5, and you're like, what do I have? And like, it's a big jump. So I would definitely recommend that you at least know what you're going to be doing with your heroes. Also, it's also a little bit of a downside if you don't own a hero and you've got the war chest. So, for instance, if you start off with Zeratul, you're only going to be playing one game with him, and then you're gonna, since you can play free to level 5, you're gonna get to level 5 in like 2 games. So if you've got the war chest, and you still want to practice, you're gonna kind of be missing out on that. So that's really one of the downsides in regards to that. But other than that, it's pretty much a positive, because you get to level up your mastery points a bit quicker to hit that 90 to max everything out, and you get again, it adds on extra points for the war chest because you need to get those points. Let's go back to collection. Now, you're not, when you buy the war chest, you're not just given every single one of these, as you can tell. You have to actually unlock them through playing of StarCraft or through watching channels such as like Base Trade, Nathanias, Pig, and so on and so forth. But each one of these is, you have to get this building in particular, I would need 300,000 XP. Now, it sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. Honestly, you can play a couple co-op missions and you'll unlock that very quickly, especially with the additional 25,000. I think it's about 4 or 5 maybe to unlock for each one. It depends on how it goes, but you can again supplement that with watching the channels that advertise this as well, like again, like Base Trade TV, and every 20 minutes you're giving 50,000 XP to that. So literally you don't even have to play StarCraft and you can unlock that. And it can also help you unlock those rewards much faster. And I actually really like that. I think it's a really cool cool aspect to it, so there's definitely no downside to that. But the biggest negative I would have to say is the skins that are offered very widely between the races. The biggest thing I want to point out is, let's go and start with the basics. This is the default, and this is the Special Forces. Now, it's based off the Special Forces skin pack. I currently don't own it, but you can at least see what I'm saying is that it's a very subtle difference between the default and the Special Forces. Like, it looks like a little bit more high res, like a little bit tacked on, not a whole lot. I think the best one to see would be the Banshee. Like, it's just a little bit upgraded version of the default. Like, this is like the 2017, like this is the 2018 model, this is the 2019 model. Like, there's just a slight upgrade. That being said, it also that slight upgrade is seen in the skins, because we've got the default armory right here and the default Special Forces. Like, there's almost really no difference to an extent. Like, of course, you can see like the coloration right here, like the decals a little bit higher up, a little bit more of these red stripes, and it's like I said, a little bit more of a high res, like almost like a remastered version of it, but like the colors are a little bit more vibrant, and you can see like this is obviously Team Red by comparison to this, which is a little harder to see if it's Team Red. And again, same thing with the barracks right here. Like I said, it's very different. Like the color palette looks pretty much just swapped. Like, you get a little bit more red here. This part right here is red. The decals on the side and like on the top, and it's very not noticeable. Like, even if you just look at the bunker, like, it's noticeable that you have this skin. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, look, we've got a little bit more of the grip part here, and it's a little bit more of a raised version, where it's a little bit more of a detail, but you kind of can at least see what I'm talking about. And also, the biggest thing as well is just to look at the command center. It's still very similar, but the coolest part is, one thing I really like about this pack is it makes the command center kind of look really cool. I'm actually more of a fan of this U-shaped satellite rather than a circular dish. But again, that's more of like an aesthetics style between it. That's really like the biggest difference you're gonna notice. And again, like I said, there's not a whole lot difference. It's a little bit more of a black and a little bit more red. Like, the blacks are blacker and the reds are redder. And that's really the biggest thing that you're going to be noticing with these Special Forces pack if you go with the Terran. Now, as you can tell, I'm a little salty about this because by comparison, like I said, I do not own the Zerg, but let's go ahead and go over the Zerg, which is based off the stimulant. And if we can tell from the stimulant, it looks completely dang different from the default. It's robotic in nature. It looks pretty cool, don't get me wrong. But let's go ahead and look at these. Let's go and start with the Bangling Nest. Look, what's the difference? Don't get me wrong, the color, it's metal. Like, it's a very obvious, I can look at this and be like, that is a skin. That's the skin. It looks cool. and it looks pretty nice. Same thing with like the evolution chamber, same thing with the extractor, same thing with the hatchery. It's very different from what you got. This can be both a positive and a negative. Like, for instance, if you're a Zerg and you do have the war chest and and you unlock all these metallic looking bases, it's very stimulant. Like I said, it's very robotic, very mechanized. I mean, don't get me wrong, it looks absolutely fantastic. But if you're just running around with the basic default units, it's a little out of place, in my opinion. And like you've got all these regular drones, these regular Zerglings, regular Banglings and regular Zerglings just running around with just defaults into the stimulant. It can look a little bit jarring, in my opinion. But it is, it's because it's a very noticeable difference. Like it's very far out in left field about where this is going for. But if you've got the stimulant skin for your units, it's gonna fit right in. It's gonna look a little cool. I think the only downside is, I haven't played against someone with stimulant units as well as stimulant buildings. It might blend in a little bit. That's just my only concern, but I'm sure Blizzard made sure that did not happen. But that's really the biggest thing. Like I said, it's like if you don't really got the stimulant skins, it might be a little bit out of place. While by comparison, this command center is gonna look. Even though it's special forces, it's going to look pretty good with just the Marine, like just the regular mercenary or the default owned Marine. Now, by comparison, the Protoss are going to be based off the Tal'Darim, so it's pretty cool. I actually really like what they're going for. I know this is a unit, but let's go and look at the assimilators. See, we've got really more of a this forge right here. It's a lot darker. It looks like they really just changed the lighting on some of these. It's a little bit of a disappointing, but it's a nice welcome change, especially because it is based off the Tal'Darim, and this is really what you can expect. But I still think it's very cool. I believe a Stalker does have a I stand corrected. It might be forged or whatever, but it's based off the Tal'Darim. You know what you're expecting, and you know what you're really getting. You're really just getting a darker color version of a lot of these buildings. Like the blues are darker, the grays are darker, the lights are darker. Everything's just in general darker. And you're going to be getting a little bit more of a red lighting. Like even for this one right here, I think this is a really cool one by comparison to the default one. Only because like I didn't really even notice that there were lights in here. I mean, even though I'm running it on pretty, like, sometimes I run it on ultra, medium, or low, depending on how I want to run, but it's like, I didn't really even notice these lights, and this, you can at least see the lights a bit better, so I think that's a little bit more noticeable. The fleet beacon, like I said, we already know the same color, but this is, like, you just get a little bit more of a red, because again, this is Tal'Darim, this is really what's expected. Nothing really, like, different. Same with the forge, you're going to be getting a little more of a red lighting instead of a blue lighting. And again, same darker color scheme than everything else. Gateway, red crystal. Let's go ahead and at least see what it's going to look like in terms of when it goes into a warp mode. There we go. I really like this one actually because of the red thing. Like I said, I think it still looks pretty cool because again, I do think it fits the Tal'Darim aspect with Alarak and all of that. But the coolest one, in my opinion, that stands out the most with these with this one is the Nexus. I really actually like this Nexus design. I know it is very similar to the default Nexus, but I actually really like the very evil aspect of it clawing for this as well. Also, you get a little bit more of a detail, like right here. It's you get a little bit more detail on the fronts and the sides. Oh, actually, no, it's actually the same. So, see, look, it's not even really noticeable in those default ones, but when you look at it in the forged version, like, those subtle details from the default skin stand out a little bit more, in my opinion. But I actually really like this part right here. That's actually one of my favorite parts about this one. Photon cannons, again, pretty much the same. The only difference is that you get a little bit more detail around the actual firing mechanism, and again, you get some red lights going in. Also, you get a little bit of spikes because, I mean, spikes are evil. I mean, let's go with that. Pylon. I don't really like. I mean, it's a pylon. Don't get me wrong. I mean, the Judicator one is pretty good, but this one's like just darker. It's a little bit more of a red, a little more of a shade red. It's again just shades darker. I mean, it's okay. I mean, it looks good in game. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like it's still just a pylon. You're gonna be building a lot of those, so it's at least good to see. But again, like this, it's still pretty much very similar. You're getting spikes and all that. Robotics facility, you get a little bit more spikiness on it. Just red and all of that. But nothing, like you said, it's just very subtle upgrades on what is generally given as the basic default of the Protoss skins. I think it's okay because it also matches well with if you don't own a lot of Protoss skins, like in myself. I mean, yeah, I've got a Purifier, yeah, I've got the Collector. I mean, yeah, I've got the Collector's Edition, and yeah, I've got the default. But it'll fit in it'll fit in. So there's really nothing the matter with that. It'll fit in with your basic units. But there's not a whole but you're at least also getting the aspect of pretending playing as Alarak in the Tal'Darim. So you definitely are getting that. By comparison with the Terran, these special forces ones are almost non-existent. Again, of course, we're getting this cord, but it just is not a lot. It's not enough, in my opinion, for myself. I mean, there's really cool ones they could have gone for. They could have gone for the Marauder one, like Hans and Horner type buildings. I think those are really cool looking. Or really just anything else that has like a little bit more pop in terms of like actual units. Like even the Imogen ones, I would have definitely gone for those. The Mirror's Marauder ones would have been a pretty good upgrade as well, because you've got a little bit more of a spice to them by comparison to the Special Forces. The Zerg ones, like I said, I really like them. I really like the Stimulant ones. I've seen the Stimulant ones in games, not the Stimulant units with the Stimulant buildings, but they look really cool, like I said. But they do look a little awkward with the regular units running around. But that being said, that's really like the only downside. I mean, that's one of the major downsides to this chest is one of the races is like the Zerg race is in far left field by using these robotic looking buildings. The Protoss is pretty much middle of the road. It's because you know what you're getting. You're getting buildings that are Tal'Darim. You've seen them a lot in the campaign and all of that, and they fit right in. The Terran ones, of course, they fit right in, but like it just feels like it's just not enough. Like it feels like I'm missing more. Like they should have gone with a different style of building. But again, that could have would have felt like the Zerg and just offset it out as well. That being said, though, the Warchest is really good. Like I said, I really like the co-op aspect of it by leveling up my characters to finally finish off those mastery points, to get those to level 90 and to get those extra stuff. Buildings are really nice, like I said. They're really good because it does give you those customization options. It does give you those customization options for your buildings as well as your units. Other than that, I think that's really all about there is to say about the Warchest in my opinion of them. I think Terran got a little shafted. Terran got a little bad luck on the draw, but hopefully we'll be getting something better in the next one. That being said, my name is Panic Picnic. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys at the picnic table. Have a great one. Bye.